Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, Tasmania's borders will stay shut and there's no clear sign when they will reopen. The state government had signalled July 24 as the potential day, but rising COVID cases in Victoria and concern over mainland travel permits have delayed the date by at least a week.
The passengers are few, the security close by, and the buses bound for quarantine. Hopes had been building these measures would soon be over for most mainland travellers. Today the Premier had other plans.
We will be deferring the opening of our borders on the 24th for at least 1 week, if not longer.
Meaning Tasmania will be closed until at least July 31. Health authorities remain worried Victoria's second wave could impact other states. Even with the New South Wales border shut, 180,000 travel permits have been issued. South Australia is in the clear.
But obviously there were significant people movements from Victoria into South Australia prior to the border being closed.
New COVID cases in New South Wales and Canberra have also been traced back to Victoria.
That's a reasonable cause for concern, as is the substantial movement of people between the states.
The Chamber of Commerce and Industry wants all other COVID restrictions lifted to help businesses. But for tourism operators like Devils at Cradle, only one thing will make a difference.
We need visitation. We need the borders open and visitors starting to come through the door, otherwise we'd be in trouble.
He supports the Premier's decision, despite 70% of the park's visitors coming from the mainland. For now, he's holding on to staff because of JobKeeper.
The decision today by the Premier is another example of why JobKeeper needs to be extended beyond September so that those businesses and those workers can have surety that they'll have income past that date.
The state government will provide a border update on July 24. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
The search continues tonight for an Ulverston man police say has been breaching home quarantine restrictions for at least 4 days. We now cross to our reporter Ruby Kamain for more details. Good evening, Ruby. What more do you know this evening?
Kim, police say the 22-year-old returned to Tasmania from Victoria on July 3, but he wasn't at home during a police check 3 days later. Authorities have been searching for Alex Bazima since then. Now, this is obviously a concern considering Victoria's current surge in COVID-19 cases. It's believed he's in the Devonport area, driving a silver Ford Mondeo wagon with a Victorian registration plate. So anyone with information on his whereabouts is urged to contact police or Crime Stoppers. Kim?
Been a tragic end to the search for a missing 77-year-old man at Primrose Sands east of Hobart. Following an extensive rescue operation, the man's body was discovered just 500 metres from his home this morning.
A search that started in hope, ending in tragedy. Emergency services making the grim discovery of missing Primrose Sands man Robert Lucas.
It is a tragic situation. I have spoken with the family, and although it is tragic, they are relieved that Mr. Lucas has been found.
His disappearance sparking this major land and air search in the small town east of Hobart. 40 police and SES volunteers working on the ground here after Mr. Lucas was reported missing on Tuesday. Police searching on foot through bushland and scrub. Trail bikes and cars ready to join the effort. Yesterday evening, a helicopter circling low, with rescue crews searching for any sign of the missing local. But as last night's harsh conditions set in, police were preparing for the worst.
Especially for a person aged in his 70s to be out at night without appropriate clothing, temperatures would impact upon his survivability.
Then around 10 a.m, the body of the 77-year-old was found in this marshland, just 500 metres from his home.
He was a local from the area. He's lived down there for a number of years, Mr. Lucas, and it's just good that we can actually give closure to the family and also for the community.
Police tonight are preparing a report for the coroner. They've also thanked the Primrose Sands community for their assistance in the search, saying many local members of the community went out of their way to check for Mr. Lucas.
Members of the community asked what's going on, can we help? So we're thankful for the community help. We had people checking their own outbuildings and sheds last night.
Authorities say there are no suspicious circumstances surrounding the death. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Police have intercepted an alleged drug trafficking operation using the Spirit of Tasmania. 2 people have been charged with trying to smuggle $500,000 worth of ice into the state yesterday.
Bags of an illicit substance, police say, were discovered in a major drug bust in Devonport.
A 31-year-old man and a 37-year-old woman have been arrested and charged following a significant seizure of methamphetamine yesterday with a street value of about $500,000.
Police say at around 6:30 yesterday morning, a thorough search at the Spirit of Tasmania port uncovered around 0.5 kilogram of ice.
So there were 2 cars intercepted as they came off the Spirit of Tasmania at Devonport. Within one of those vehicles, those drugs were concealed.
Police say the locals attempted to smuggle in the drugs while following the current travel rules into Tasmania.
They are Tasmanian residents returning to Tasmania, and they were compliant with the directions of the State Controller at that time.
In the past 3 weeks, police have now managed to seize around $1.5 million worth of ice entering Tasmania, part of an ongoing operation, the equivalent of more than 15,000 street deals.
This is a significant quantity for Tasmania. We are working closer together than we ever have in partnership to address these sorts of issues and to keep Tasmania safe.
The latest alleged culprits have both been charged with trafficking in a controlled substance. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmania News.
The number of assaults in Tasmania has increased for the 5th year in a row. The ABS has just released data for 2019, revealing victims of the crime are up by 3% from 2018. Almost half of assaults were related to family violence and 55% occurred in a residential location.
It can vary when you look at them. A few in Tasmania, with the number of statistics that are there, a few isolated instances can make a big difference.
Crimes of sexual assault have dropped over the year, but there were rises in victims of theft and robbery. Tasmania Police has launched a new recruitment campaign to bolster its diversity. As the current round of recruits are put through their paces, the initiative is calling for people of diverse backgrounds to try out for the job. Police saying it's important to have officers who reflect everyone in Tasmania's community.
When we recruit a course, we recruit everyone for different reasons because we want those individual thoughts and minds of how we can go about our work and represent the community.
The campaign will be based on social media, showcasing all aspects of the career. Today marks 25 years since one of Tasmania's worst environmental disasters. On July 10, 1995, the Iron Barren became grounded on Hebe Reef near Low Head, spewing hundreds of tonnes of fuel into the ocean. It's estimated the grounding claimed the lives of more than 20,000 penguins. The vessel was later scuttled east of Flinders Island. And if you missed our special report on the weekend, head to the 7 Tasmania Facebook page to take a look. An old Parks and Wildlife hut in Lake Sorell will soon become a getaway destination for Tasmania's defence veterans. The Vietnam Veterans Association is undertaking the project with the help of the state government after the RSL pulled its support.
A quiet lakeside cabin in the Central Highlands is a stark contrast from a war zone in the Middle East. This cabin will undergo extensive renovations and become a holiday destination for returned veterans and their families, a facility that ex-servicemen say helps them return to civilian life.
When you're on operations in the Middle East, for example, you're on such a heightened state of alertness for the entire rotation. I did 6 months in Afghanistan, and you feel like you're just pumped on adrenaline for that entire 6 months.
The Vietnam Veterans Association will manage the retreat.
They may be younger veterans than us, contemporary veterans. We're much older, but they're mates. We've all experienced serving our country overseas, some of us in a war zone.
The project was stalled after the RSL pulled its support, delaying renovations on the retreat by at least a year.
I was dumbfounded, a vital asset for helping our mental health.
The state government is injecting $100,000 to pay for the cabin's renovations, and it's hoped the retreat can one day offer mental health support.
We've co-funded a feasibility study with the federal government to assess exactly where those services will be based and how they will be provided to our veterans and their families.
Construction will get underway soon, but it'll be another year before veterans and their families can enjoy this cabin. An extension will see an additional 2 bedrooms put in, and the interior will also be upgraded. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
An East Coast mayor has resigned less than 2 years into the role. Debbie Wisby was elected as mayor of the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council in 2018, but today handed in her immediate resignation. In a statement, she said she's been worn down by constant criticism and lack of support from the local government division. The former councillor thanked the area's residents, saying she's been humbled by their support. A prominent local food product has been recalled over fears of listeria contamination. The Tasmanian Cheese Co. chili cheddar is under the microscope of the Food Standards Authority. It has been available for sale at IGA stores in Queenstown and Beaconsfield, as well as Nigel's Gourmet Meats in Exeter. The product can be returned for a full refund. The renowned Deloraine Craft Fair has survived the coronavirus axe, with plans for an all-Tasmanian event this year. Uncertainty around mainland travel means interstate stall holders will not be accepted. Organisers are expecting more than 150 local pop-up shops for the 4-day showcase. The event will be held in November. Meanwhile, the weird, wacky and creative world of art will be on show to the Launceston public again, with QV Mag opening its doors after a lengthy shutdown. But things will be slightly different than before, with the gallery offering free guided tours of its most prized exhibitions.
We can't wait to see how people respond to that and the new stories that they get to learn about our collections.
Staff say the tours will include tales of history, art and science. And some of Tasmania's most picturesque and unique areas are now on display in an annual celebration of the state's beauty. Handmark Gallery's landscape exhibition features 30 pieces. This year's travel restrictions said to have been an inspiration for the creative locals.
All our artists, I guess, have been able to think more about the Tasmanian landscape, and so we've got around 30 artists who have given us their version of landscape.
The display will run until July 27. 2 blockbuster Saturday clashes will mark the return of Tasmania's knockout soccer competitions. Glenorchy coach James Sherman says his side won't leave anything to chance against the Northern Rangers at KG5, while in the women's, Olympia will be using the March Summer Cup loss as a motivator against Ulverston.
Everyone's super pumped up and we're ready to come out and prove ourselves this season, definitely.
That match will take place at Warrior Park. All 3 Melbourne A-League teams will fly to Sydney tomorrow to start 14 days in quarantine before they can join the season's resumption. The clubs have been given permission to train during isolation. And in the Premier League, this morning Manchester United thrashed Aston Villa 3-0 to sit 1 point outside the top 4.
Good evening. Flinders Island, our top today with 16 degrees. Hobart just 9, Launceston 13, Burnie 12 and Devonport 14. King Island, Strawn and Friendly Beaches 15 today. Low Head 14 degrees, St Helens 13. Ouse and Lyawini 6 and Butler's Gorge, our overnight low with -4. A shield of high cloud moved across the state and that masked some low cloud which sat over the north and northwest of Tasmania. Best rainfall today, 4 millimetres at Larina and Erebor. Cold unstable air linked to a low is over the Bight and affecting South and Western Australia. Patchy high cloud over the southeastern states and some convective cloud over the north and east of Queensland. Tomorrow a cold front crosses Victoria and New South Wales. The high to the west extends a ridge to our southwest. The winds light and variable, turning a little to the southwest over the central plateau lakes. We have a road weather alert warning of frost and ice on susceptible roads around the state. Forecast Saturday, Hobart 12 and morning fog. Morning fog and frost for Medina, 12 the high, 11 the top for Oatlands. A very chilly start as well. 14 the top for Launceston, bit of fog clearing, cloudy for Devonport, 14 the top and 7 the high for Lyawini. Burnie expecting 14 degrees, cloudy for Strawn on 13 and Marrawar 14. And for St Helens tomorrow a top of 14 degrees, partly cloudy, same for Swansea, 13 the top for Orford. Sunday now and showers about the east, south and Bass Strait, fine elsewhere. Fine on Monday after patchy morning frost. There will be a few showers over the east though, and on Tuesday showers over the east and southeast with fine weather for the rest of the state. Sunny and 18 in Perth. Showers and just 13 for Adelaide, a possible storm for Melbourne. A morning shower for Canberra and Sydney, and partly cloudy and 24 in Brisbane. And partly cloudy in Hobart at 6 at the moment. Launceston mostly cloudy as well, and Devonport currently 8 degrees. Now Kim, tonight marks your 3-month anniversary in the chair over there, which also means it marks your 3-month probationary period concluding. I haven't seen the roster for next week. Are you on it?
Well, this is all news to me, Merv, but let's talk to the boss after the news, and perhaps we could look at your terms and conditions as well.